all differing points of view.
That's great. So you have an open mind.
I think you have to, and you know, one of the, in my reading background, I've been reading recently David McCullough's book on John Adams, which was the basis for the HBO series. You know, the First Amendment was so critically important to our founders, because the theory was, and these were very educated, enlightened mothers and fathers that started our country, the theory was that the more one listens to differing points of view, the better able one is to form one's own conclusion. And that holds true today. So much of our journalism today is opinion journalism, unfortunately. I mean, I grew up in a time, black and white TV, I'm dating myself terribly, but you know, where newscasters pretty much came in and they read their script and they said, this is what happened. They didn't editorialize much. What we found over the years, and this is why we have different channels, I think, is that much of what people are reporting has an editorial spin to it or an opinion to it. So we must take it upon ourselves to listen to differing points of view before coming down on an opinion ourselves, I think.
Well, I remember the test pattern
yes.
on black and white, so I probably go back a little further than you do. But yes, you're right there. We did have a whole different set of journalists back then.
We did.
And I find that because of this, that maybe we're splitting up our country a little bit in opinions. You have
absolutely
some people that are so far one way or so far the other way that you cannot even talk to them, can't reason with them. There's no communication.
Well, I'll tell you, this is a funny anecdote, but I think it's true, and you won't be the first person to hear this. My husband is a liberal Democrat. I'm a moderate Republican and a fiscal conservative. I'm also environmentally concerned, and I don't think government should get in the way of people leading their lives. So I tend to be more socially progressive than a lot of my conservative friends. But I like to watch all kinds of news, and so we have two TVs in our house, one at one end of the house and one at the other, because my husband, there are certain news channels he refuses to watch under any circumstances. And so if there's something I want to watch on a certain channel, which will remain unnamed here, I need to go down to the other end of the house to watch it and keep the volume low.
Okay. So you're banned to the other room.
Yes, but I think what it says is that, you know, as a country, we have become very divided, and we've forgotten how important it is to listen, even if we wince when we hear something. But I would love to see some plain, old-fashioned, straightforward journalism come back without much bias or editorializing in it. And I don't know if we're going to see that now, because we have so many different channels and so many choices.
I see the media changing even to the newspapers. We might have a day when we won't have newspapers anymore. What do you think about that?
I hear that all the time, and I think a lot of our print media is very concerned about that. I read online. I also get the hard copies of both of our dailies here, because I think it's important. Well, it's important for me to have something in hand during the day. If I want to reread something and carry it around, or cut it out, or save it, or make a copy of it that shows the date and all of that. I'm old-fashioned that way. But, you know, I think the wave of the future, I know for my children, they are very comfortable reading online all the time. And so we'll only wait to see what our grandchildren will be doing.
Well, I'm not into computers. I'm going to admit it in public. In fact, I told one of your workers, Carol Allen, and I want to thank her for helping getting you on, and
she's
Ed
great.
Brown too. They asked me, they said, what's your email? I said, I don't do email. I talk to people. I still communicate. So I see what you're saying there. But anyhow, we're going to break right now for a few minutes.
All right.
And then we'll be back, Santa Fe, with some questions for Asenath Kepler. Hello, Santa Fe. I'm Carlene, and welcome to Living Santa Fe. This portion of our show will highlight the three-way battle between Mayor David Koss, Asenath, Kepler, and Councilor Miguel Chavez. It's a run for the Mayor 2010 in Santa Fe. These candidates differ in subjects as wide-ranging as affordable housing, living wage, city annexations, and this is just the beginning of a very heated race. Today we hope to touch on such subjects as burglary, the drug culture, economy and the gap between the rich and the poor, graffiti, one of our society's ills. The economy is a tough issue. We score poorly on measures of divisions between wealth and poverty. What about tourism? What about the careers of our well-educated children that are leaving Santa Fe? What about the Santa Fe living wage? Neighborhoods versus developments. These are just some of the subjects we will be touching on today. Thank you, Santa Fe, and stay tuned. Santa Fe, we're back with Asenath Kepler with the question and answer portion of our interview today. And Asenath, I'll bet you've been asked a million questions since you've been on this campaign.
Oh yes, but I welcome them, frankly.
What's the hardest one you've had to answer?
That's probably a toss-up. I think the issue of how to run the city the most efficiently and maintain good relationships with the workers over there has been something that has been very thought-provoking. It wasn't a difficult question to ask, but it made me do a lot of soul-searching and thinking about what it really means to be a leader, not just as a city manager, but as an elected official, and how ensuring that the men and women who work for the city know that you are dedicated to helping them do the best job they can at the best possible compensation is really important. And you know, they've really suffered during this recession, so people are very skittish about what the future holds for them. So it's been very important for me to really do a lot of thinking about how best to strengthen this city from the bottom up, from the workers up.
Into that very topic there, stimulating growth in this town and getting jobs for people. Mm-hmm. You know, we talk about health insurance, and we talk about Afghanistan, and we talk about Iraq, we talk about all these things. But until we have people at work, mm-hmm. we're not going to get anywhere. We're going to have a generation of people that are not trained if we don't do something. How do we stimulate growth? How do we get people jobs?
We have in our campaign, we have a very aggressive, vigorous economic development plan. And it includes not only strengthening our local businesses, but recruiting environmentally compatible businesses to Santa Fe with the understanding that we may have to do some incentivizing for them, but at the same time we would expect those businesses to hire local people. And we would work closely with the community college and the high schools with regard to appropriate vocational curriculum and certification to make sure we had a work-ready workforce for these businesses when they came in. We started that when I was city manager and when economic development was a department, not just a division under the affordable housing department, which it is now. So we're going to go back to that platform and re-energize the economic development programs that we started and put it back to being a department and really go hard after stimulating business that way.